NFC Big East Invitational live finals here in wonderful New York. I'm Squid with Mick Cormier, and we're here with the second half of our double round robin gameplay. Exciting matches coming your way. We had a wonderful first half of the broadcast. Can't wait to see what happens here.
Oh, I'm quite excited. We've got DePaul and St. John going at it here. Of course, DePaul is going to be on the left side in blue, and St. John's will be on the right side, of course, in orange. This is going to be fun. Of course, DePaul is, I believe, what, 4-0? 5-0 at this point?
4-0.
4-0 at this point. And what, St. John's is undefeated, or is completely defeated then?
Yes.
Have they won a match? Okay, 0-4 versus 4-0. So, I mean, right off the rip, you got DePaul taking the score from Karma Jr. This guy, let me tell you guys, if you haven't been here to the stream all day long, he has been the game changer for this DePaul team. He has been the one who has been playing on the offense side, the defensive side. Doesn't matter what it is, he is doing it, and he's been a great addition to this DePaul team.
Oh, absolutely. As you just said, Karma Jr. has been all over the pitch for DePaul today. And also, just a quick standings update for anybody who's not in the loop. Everybody except for the two teams that you see right now are 2-2. So presently, the second place spot in the top two that get to move on is entirely up for grabs in DePaul, sitting solidly at the first place in St. John. We're going to strike back here with Justin on the left side.
And Justin was able to get a nice little touch there into the bottom left side goal. No one was there, no one was home to the side of DePaul. Just a bad rotation for them, but you know what? 1-1 apiece with not even a minute off the clock yet, this one. Oh, well. If this is, I mean, St. John, like we said, they're 0-4, but if they continue to score like they have, oh, wow. Karma Jr. gets the second one. He's already one goal away from the hat trick.
I mean, that's just the way that it is, right? And we do expect, just looking at the standings, for DePaul to have a pretty good shot at this game. So I would not be surprised if they took this in a somewhat dominant fashion, but I have to say, being 0-4 this early on, I would highly doubt that a top two spot is still in contention, unfortunately. But, you know, crazier things have happened, I will admit. 9 games to be played, usually you don't get a middle-of-the-pack teams at that number 2 spot.
That's very true. And if St. John were to go ahead and win this game, not only would they have to win this entire series, but of course, they would also have to win every single game to go 4-4. Obviously, there could be some, again, stranger things that have happened, but they would most likely need to win every single game that they're playing in order to go ahead and advance on to those top 2 spots. But as Flux goes ahead and gets a pass from Karma Jr. there and puts it on target, well, this one might be getting out of hand a little bit quickly here. It's only a minute and 30 seconds to pass, and it's already 3 goals for the side of DePaul.
Yeah, and again, undefeated DePaul, probably the hot favorites going into this matchup. A nice pass from Flux to Rumble back to Flux. It was a great idea. Just didn't quite pan out, but it seems like they're going to have some pretty solid control. Now a 7th on the board and 3 goals to go with it. It's a pretty convincing performance. With just these couple of minutes off the clock, Flux back to center. Karma Jr. is there and will put that one inside of the net. And a nice hat-trick there for Karma. And Flux actually picking up the playmaker medal as well.
Oh, wow. So that means every shot that Karma's put in has been an assist from Flux, which is beautiful. Not to mention, you know, this doesn't really have any relative impact on how the game is played, but my goodness, when we look at Karma Jr.'s car, that car is absolutely beautiful. The white Tamas, the white Octane, and of course that beautiful blue and white accent. Oh, I'm in love.
Yeah, and it seems DePaul quickly putting this one out of reach for their opponents. Rumble going to be putting this one on target, and you can't really get much more out of that play. If you're Justin, Rumble hit that ball into you. That's not really a play you can act on, and it's just kind of, the ball is bumped into you, and suddenly it's in the back of your net.
That's very true. 5-1 here for the side of DePaul. You know, 2 goals away from the Brazil. Could it happen? Well, of course it could. Will it happen? I'm not quite sure. Remember, St. John needs to go ahead and score 4 goals if they want to bring this back and tie this game up. But now another goal going in for Flux. Again, this one getting out of hand, getting out of touch, getting out of reach extremely fast. And, you know, DePaul looks amazing right now.
This might just be a bit of a field day here for DePaul.
Yeah.
Basically a bit of a warm-up match. We're going to be seeing St. John's a couple more times on the broadcast later. So hopefully this doesn't impact them too hard, but they haven't lost yet, I suppose. But it does seem, just watching this game, that they appear to be relatively outclassed by this DePaul roster, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, DePaul is, again, we talked about it before, they're very confident in the way they play. They've got a lot of good playmakers on the team, and they have good chemistry. And there we go, 7-1, it's the Brazil, folks, and they're just going to keep trying to pile as many shots on the goal as humanly possible. We still got 2 minutes and 5 seconds left here in game number 1, and they already have 7 goals to just 1 measly goal from St. John's. And that's unfortunate, it really is, because we thought that St. John's, you know, after that first goal when it was 1-1 at the beginning of this game, they might be able to go ahead and make some magic happen. Maybe complete the Cinderella story that no one might have expected. And, you know, after that first goal went in, it's been a bloodbath from there on out. But, you know, they're not out of this one, I guess you could say, for game number 2. But game number 1, this one, quite frankly, just kind of seems over me. Oh my, that would have been beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think that there's really a chance for St. John's to get back into this one. I mean, when's the last time you've seen somebody come back from a Brazil at all? But I think
Rumble.
that could be, yeah, maybe. But,
maybe some plungers.
Perhaps.
But 7-1's kind of a stretch of the imagination that they could come back from.
Yeah, I don't know. Can we get some mutators mid-game? That might help out. Game one seems to be pretty done and done, and yeah, it's not pretty here for St. John's. Another goal on the board by Flux, assisted by Rumble.
Well, we got 2 hat tricks for DePaul. Flux is going for a double hat trick, 2 more and he'll get 6 goals. But Karma's got 3. 2 saves for Rumble, 2 assists for him as well as a goal. It's 13-5 on the shots, as well as 3 saves to 5. So 5 saves from the side of St. John's, while they also have an 8-1 deficit, so less than a goal deficit.
Yeah, that's a significant shot count there. Honestly, I kind of expected it to be a little bit higher. But,
I guess they're just converting on their shots, though.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's DePaul after all, and again, you know, I really hate to say this, but, you know, St. John's is just utterly outclassed here. It's pretty obvious just by watching the way that these players move throughout the field in relation to each other, that there is a lot more synergy with the DePaul players. Here's a nice shot. Driver Judy can't put it on target, but they don't need it anymore at this point. We're within the final 30 seconds, and honestly, if you ever put up 8 goals versus any opponent, you better be winning that game.
If that touch was just a little bit harder, that would have been beautiful. I mean, he had 2 defenders on him over middle map trying to make a play happen, and he was almost able to put it past almost all 3 of them. But 8-1 with about 10 seconds left in this game. I think the side of St. John's are just going to go ahead and say, you know what, game number 1, let's chalk that, let's put it behind us, and let's go ahead and make some magic here. That was almost a great pass to Flux there to make it 9-1, but DePaul, 8-1 over the side of St. John's. We're just going to forget about that game for St. John's. For DePaul, we're taking that one, and we're carrying the high horse, you know, into game number 2, but...
Yeah, it would have to be a, well, see, here's the thing though, is like, you can forget about it as much as you want, but you can't ignore the fact that things are gonna get out of shape rather quickly.
Yeah.
It would take a significant momentum boost in order for St. John's to get back into this game. I mean, unless they've got super sub, you know, like K-Dop in their back pocket, I just don't feel like it's going to be within their grasp, at least for game 2. Hey, you know, crazy things happen. They might be able to turn things around and at least take off one game, but I don't think after an 8-1 loss, you're going to be able to turn that right around into game 2 win.
Keyword there, might.
Might.
But either way, game number 2 underway here. DePaul, once again in the blue. St. John, once again in the orange. And we're tied 0-0. So that's a nice score to see for the St. John team, especially after that 8-1 loss. Maybe being able to turn it around here as Flux is going to take this one up off the wall.
And apparently have very little competition in putting that one in.
Well, they're picking up right where they left off. The Karma assist to Flux, and that was just a beautiful little aerial play there.
There was some good aerial control, yeah. I mean, Primal just looked like he was trying to play for a low ball there.
Yeah.
So had that defense lined up. Unfortunately, that's not where the ball ended up going, but kudos, nonetheless.
One thing I will say, the thing we haven't touched on literally all stream long is in-air control. And that's something I really want to talk about, because there is a difference between being able to hit aerials and being able to hit aerials while being able to control the direction of where the ball and the car are going at the same time. There are some players who are just incredible at being able to control their car in the air, and then there's other players who simply are not able to control their car in the best way possible. Example would be Flux, Karma, and Rumble. These guys, once they go up for a ball, you're seeing their in-air touches go directly to where they want it to go. It's not wavering. It's not like, you know, sometimes there, sometimes not there.
I have to say, this might be one of the best own goals I've ever seen.
That was incredible.
My God, like, you could convert that onto offense?
We'll call that goal of the year.
Great shot.
Yeah.
That's an amazing shot.
I mean, he had two defenders back there to get that pass as well.
Play the game, honestly.
Yeah, that thing went fast too.
Can we just no time out? Can we just like give that goal to St. John's just because of the quality of the angle?
Screw it, we'll say 1-1.
Yeah, it's 1-1 in my heart.
In my eyes, my heart, and my soul. St. John's continue
not my
to
eyes,
lack behind a little bit though. Now Karma gonna be able to pop this one back the other way.
No control though. Just didn't have the boost for it. Almost shut on, blocked away by Flux. Still only a minute and a half of gameplay gone here. I'm gonna go all the way to the back wall, and Justin is there to touch it away. Yeah, it almost looked like he was gonna drop down inside for a second. Oh, getting absolutely RKO out of nowhere. Taken straight out of the play. Good heads-up defense, I will say. You know, somewhat impressed. As I said, you know, it can be very difficult to turn a game around into a win after a 1 loss, but they're certainly keeping it a lot closer.
That was a beautiful play by Flux there. I don't know if you saw that or not, but him turning that car upside down to get the perfect touch to the right side of the field, or the right side of the pitch, that was
cutting the opponent out of the rotation too. He pretty well got him good.
Yeah.
Approaching a half though, and St. John's still not that much offense to speak of, but as I say, there's Justin. Gonna turn that one in. Seems to get a little bit away from the DePaul players here.
So it's what, 2-1 for the side of for St. John. Had a boys.
For a moment, I forgot what you were talking about.
Oh,
I realized.
Well, either way.
For a second, I was like, I think we pretty well established that DePaul's on the blue side, and then I remembered.
Either way, it is going to be the side of St. John's trying to make an offensive play. They have control here over towards the blue half of DePaul. Relatively, though, nothing happening except a defensive play from the side of DePaul as well. Not as high scoring this game as it was last game. Seems like St. John, for the time being at least, have a little bit more presence and pressure on the map.
I feel like DePaul may have tapped the brakes a little bit as well, to be perfectly honest. Because you know, we've seen some individual effort, sure, but nothing nearly like we saw in the last game, and they might be wanting to, you know, conserve some of that energy for the tougher matchups that they still have to play. After all, this is only their 5th match of 9, which I believe is the grand total. Yeah, 5 teams, and double round robin. Yeah.
Is it 4 teams or 5? I thought it was 4 teams.
It's 5 teams.
I could be wrong. It's
right?
Xavier, Villanova, DePaul, St. John. Oh yeah, Marquette as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
had a bit of confusion there for a second.
Caster math.
Yeah, so it's 5 teams, but it's essentially there'd be 10 teams. In a single round robin, there'd be 9 matches each play. Wait, no, so it's only 8 matches because they wouldn't play themselves twice. Well, I've been doing this wrong the whole time.
So have I.
Good to know.
Caster math.
This is why we double check. Still only 2-1 with a minute to go though. St. John's could still very well be in this game. Flux trying to get a redirect there.
It's crazy this to say.
Yeah. But again, I feel like DePaul may just be, you know, playing off, just so that way they can you know, be more prepared for the next game, not mentally taxing themselves with a team that they seem to be. Again, I don't like being biased, but it just does seem like to have this team be
Well, it's not biased when it's just portraying fact. They were, again, outclassed in game number 1, and, you know, it's what happens. Yeah, you've got a very good Rocket League team in DePaul. I'm not saying St. John's Rocket League team is not good. I'm just saying this St. John's team, or this DePaul team is incredible. They have not dropped a match today. They still have yet to show any signs of wavering off, or a lack thereof of being defeated. I don't know. I feel DePaul will come out with his #1 spot relatively with ease. And, you know, the second spot, though, is going to be up for grabs. Especially with both of those teams being at 2-2.
Yeah, and I was actually just thinking about playoff, or like the playoff implications, right? So for DePaul, if they win this series, which they seem to be on track to do, they'll move on to 5-0. So being 8 matches, if they would have to win, since everyone else is 2-2 right now. Obviously, pending results of other games, because not everybody is going to be 2-2 afterwards. But after this next round of matches plays out, we will have some 3-2 teams, and we'll have some 2-3 teams. But basically, all that DePaul will have to do is then win. They'll have to win up to game 6. If they win their 6th series, then they'll most likely have that #1 spot. They will at the very least be number 2, due to the nature of, I believe, their game differential is pretty favorable, as well as the fact that nobody else can get underneath of 2 losses. If they win 7 of their 8 games, they automatically have the #1 spot.
Yep. If they win this one, I mean, all that happens then is, I mean, those 2-2 teams will have to play each other, and then DePaul will have the map count advantage over them as well, like the map win-loss, not just the game win-loss. So if they win this game, they're already guaranteed at least one of the top 2 spots.
Because DePaul, if I'm looking at it right, I believe they've only dropped 2 maps.
Yeah.
This entire tournament so far. On this double round robin.
And since they're undefeated, then they've beat teams with at least 3 maps. So that if they don't drop it, like, again, if they win this, they're guaranteed a top 2 spot.
Beautiful play there.
Yeah, it was.
Rumble tried to cut across there and steal from Karma, but no luck. Oh my good. Hang on, can we just get a look at Primal's car real quick?
I saw that.
That looks absolutely sick. That is legendary tier Hall of Fame car, to say the very least. But getting back to playoff implications, sorry, I just got distracted with that. It's a beautiful looking car, really.
That is. I'm surprised we haven't seen any Christmas camos or like Christmas cars.
I have a Christmas themed car in my garage, and I'm surprised that nobody else is really bringing it out. I know that Lawler always uses the Santa hat, but he always has that on, so there's that. Arcamp gonna get one back here.
Well, champ.
We'll have to watch this match closely, so that way we don't end up having St. John's having it tied up.
Yeah. So that's what happens. We get carried away with talking about different things, and then the team just makes a sneak comeback out of nowhere, and you're like, well, where did the time go?
Yeah, they did manage to keep it close against DePaul in the last match, so there's still a breath of hope there. Rumble gonna try and squeeze that out though. Nice bounce shot underneath the crossbar. Put his team up by 2. Just under 4 minutes to go. And I mean, how are you gonna defend that? Even if you're a top tier player, having just landed on the ground, you can't get up into the air and make that save. So that's not even on St. John's for having a bad defense. That was just a good shot by DePaul.
It's all about finding where the players are not inside of the goal, and well, you found the exact sweet spot with that shot. And of course, as you mentioned, just putting it like that and just playing like that, it's almost impossible to defend that. It really is, and that's what the best Rocket teams will do. Rocket League teams, rather. They play to your weaknesses. They will put the shots on goal where you are least expecting them, and they'll do it in great, nice fashion.
Again, go back to playoff potentials.
Yeah.
Depending. Yeah, sorry. I just would like to crunch numbers. You can call stacks. I have some experience. Stacks love crunching numbers. We had a whiteboard in the green room at one point. He spent a long time on that. Great guy. But so basically we've got 4 teams. Or sorry, not 4 teams. 3 teams who are 2-2, and a couple of them they're going to play off against each other, obviously. Actually, oh my goodness, I wish I had like all of the game schedule. But we have the full game schedule. It's a bit difficult to read.
Yeah.
But only one of them. All right, so this is basically what I'm thinking. DePaul wins this and next game, and if we have 3 2-2 teams, so if they kind of trade wins, so if one of them doesn't win against both of the other 2-2 teams, which I know just try and visualize that.
I know. Got you.
So if none of the 2-2 teams wins both of their matches against the other 2-2 teams, and DePaul wins their next series, then DePaul will be number 1.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually understood that. Huh.
They just get thank you for Hans bringing me the rest of the schedule. Not just the stream matches that we have, I believe, but the rest of the full schedule. Yeah. Okay.
Lol.
Sorry, this is a lot of things in my head. I don't have a note sheet or anything right in front of me, so I'm trying to do this all in my head. I think McCormill has a notepad in front of him, so he can try to do that for you.
I do. But
okay. All right, fair enough. You know, fair play.
No, I will say though, yeah, I mean, right now it seems like DePaul is just kind of farming the St. John's team, kind of padding their stats a little bit perhaps, but, you know, neither here nor there.
I mean, you don't want to get too cold, right? Even if they are just trying to, you know, take it calm and, you know, they realize that they have this game most likely in the bag, which at this point they most likely do, minute 45, 5-1 lead. You know, they don't want to just keep it down to 1 goal and basically not play the game. Because obviously, well, for one, that's just disrespecting the opponents to a certain extent, which I don't really think that they've done so far. It still looks like, you know, they might be holding back a little bit, but I really feel like they're still respecting the St. John's players. But at the same time, they wouldn't ever want to play so slowly that they wouldn't be ready for the next match because they didn't take it seriously.
Well, they seem to be taking this one relatively seriously. I mean, another lead where it's 6-1 with a minute 20 seconds left. I mean, the Brazil could happen once again, and you know,
that'll be magical.
2-7-1s
in the same series.
In the same series.
Plus, I believe I don't know how exactly we're doing it. Yeah, there we go. I don't know how we're doing it in this tournament, so I don't know how EGF runs their tiebreakers, but I know that for many other leagues, they will use goal differential as one of the tiebreakers right after game differential within the series. So getting these extra goals might also be a little bit of help for DePaul. But it is looking like they might have that number 1 spot under wraps unless they're defeated in the next set of round-robin matches, which again, they're undefeated thus far, and that means that they've already beaten each team once, and at the end of this game, they'll have beaten St. John's twice now, so I have a pretty good feeling that they might be our number 1 seed. They've been looking very strong.
You know, I wouldn't put it past you to have that prediction. It's a pretty sound prediction.
Yeah.
It's the safest bet thus far.
I think at this point we might want to take a look at the other side bracket as well, or the other group, to see who we might be facing off against. Over here in Group 2 is where we are currently residing. 30 seconds now left in this last match, and pretty well decided at this point. Looking like a solid 3-0 for DePaul, which honestly we are not that unfamiliar with. They've played now. This is their 5th series, so they've played 15 games plus the 2 that they've lost. So they've played 17 games, and out of those they've only lost 2. That is an impressive performance by every single one.
That truly is. And I will say, I'm looking at the other side of the groups, not the group that we're currently watching, but the group on the opposite side of the bracket. Seton Hall, undefeated.
We should note that if you do want to go take a look at the other group at any time, you can do so over at twitch.tv/EGFofficial, but we have wrapped up our match here. DePaul taking that one handily. A lot of stat padding going on there. And St. John's, I think, now moving on to 0-5, looks like they are going to be out of contention for that the top 2 spots for the playoffs, unfortunately. They will have a couple more matches that they'll play on stream later on, so they can try and play spoiler for some others, but this is going to be the end of their playoff contention.
Alrighty, folks, that is going to do it for the match between DePaul and St. John. We hope you stick around for the next match coming up very, very soon. It's going to be a doozy. It's going to be a great one. My man, Squid, take us away to the break, brother.
Marquette versus Villanova coming right up. Thanks, McCormiel, for the handout. Appreciate it, but we're going to be taking just that short little break. Once again, grab some more popcorn. You won't want to miss it. Both teams 2-2 fighting for that playoff spot. We'll be right back.